Meanwhile, oil prices having a down day as the Biden administration says it will dip into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve once again. So is there likely to be any impact on prices at the pump in the next few months? Let's get to Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman to find out. Hey, Rick.
Hey, this is different from what we saw last year. So the Energy Department is releasing about 26 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Reserve because the law says it has to do that. This dates to a 2015 law Congress passed that said the Energy Department has to periodically release some oil, sell it into the market, and then take that proceeds and use it to upgrade and maintain the reserve itself. So this is not something Biden wants to do as he did last year to provide relief in the oil and gasoline markets. This is something they have to do because the law says they have to do it. 26 million barrels, not a huge amount. I mean, we've seen oil prices come down about $1 or so per barrel in the last 24 hours. That may be related to this announcement. That's well within the range of a normal market gyration. So this will have a little bit of effect, I guess. But many analysts think we're going to see oil prices and gasoline prices drifting upward into the summer. There's still pretty tight supply around the world, and China is reopening. And China is a huge energy consumer that's going to create a lot of demand for energy.
Well, speaking of drifting upward, what's the latest surrounding, of course, these floating objects taken down by the U.S. and its impact on, of course, its relationship with China?
Information is eking out. The Senate is set to get a briefing from some Pentagon officials. I'm sure that a lot of that information will leak. I saw a news report saying that the Pentagon has recovered basically what they think are all of the significant sensors that were on that first balloon, the one that we see there on the screen that got shot down off the coast of South Carolina. So the Pentagon's saying they got basically all the major sensors off that balloon from the debris that landed in the ocean. That means they're going to be able to figure out with a pretty good accuracy what exactly that balloon was doing. Was it taking pictures? Was it doing audio surveillance, technical surveillance? It's possible it was all of the above. Let's remember that was a large balloon with a payload or a suite of sensors that was supposedly the size of a small jet attached to it. So that's a lot of capability on that balloon. And I think we're going to be getting some very interesting updates on what the heck that balloon was doing.
And Rick, we seem to be getting some sort of tit for tat from China, also saying that they had some unidentified flying objects from the U.S. over their airspace. What does it mean when you get in a tit for tat with the two biggest economies, who clearly are so interconnected that they do need each other economically?
No, people should not freak out about this. This is not, the beginning of some kind of war between the United States and China. I mean, intelligence, one up, down, one up, one down. This sort of stuff goes on all the time behind the scenes. What is different about the balloons is that the public is getting a glimpse of the spy game that goes on between these nations. So that does create political pressure in both nations to do something about it. So here in the United States, you're seeing Republicans criticizing President Biden, saying he didn't act aggressively enough. I don't agree with that. I think it's good news that balloon, the first one, stayed up as long as it did and gave the Pentagon a lot of opportunity to monitor it and see what it was doing. But in China, there's obviously political pressure to respond to this criticism from the United States, and that's why we saw the Chinese government saying, "Oh, the United States has done this too. We're not the only ones." They're almost trying to make it out as if it's normal behavior to send spy balloons over other countries in the world. It is not normal behavior. Every country in the world has the right to sovereignty in its airspace, and this should not be happening. But the big question, of course, is has China been periodically or routinely sneaking these objects into U.S. airspace unnoticed? I don't think we know that yet, and we still don't know those three other objects that the Pentagon has shot down. What were they? We still don't really have any word. Were they spy balloons? They were apparently a lot smaller. One of them may not even have been a balloon at all. So it's quite intriguing and kind of fun to follow. We're going to get a lot more information.
We'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering how much information will be released about all that debris. Rick Newman, thank you for getting us up to speed.